in essence, what we discussed was that how dukkha distracts and dukkha disturbs and sukha distracts. So because of sukha, lot of distraction happens, and then a person happens to commit offense. And in dukkha, lot of disturbance happens because of a person commits offense. Like sometimes you will find it is a repeated scenario that whenever Indra will see someone performing austerities, so what happens is he becomes insecure. And why he becomes insecure? Because he thinks that he is doing these austerities and he will come soon to Swarga and then he will occupy my post. So his attachment for his bhoga creates insecurity in his heart when he sees somebody else doing austerities. And then just imagine what he does next. He will send apsaras and so to somehow or other distract them. Just imagine somebody may be doing austerity with the right intention also. But then he will send some apsaras to disturb them or distract them. Then naturally what happens? It becomes offensive. It's like, when you see a devotee who is more successful, suppose now book distribution is going on and there are a devotee whose team is more successful. And then in night you go and you puncture the vehicle of that team so that they can't go for book distribution. So this also is offensive, right? So why Indra becomes offensive in this way? Because of his attachment to bhoga. He is attached to bhoga, like that. So naturally then sometimes he forgets and in his insecurity he happens to do it. Same way you see when Prithu Maharaj was doing yajna, Indra was taking so many shapes, so many forms, and because of which he created many up-sampradayas, which he was not knowing that because of his act, what he is doing, what he is creating an impact, because he is a leader. So he became so insecure, he forgot his dharma only. And then he's taking, sometimes he's becoming one kind of babu, another time he's coming and becoming another type of baba. And because of which so many of sampradayas they started. And then Brahma came to know, Brahma came down, what you are doing? Because of you, so many of sampradayas will start. So this is what happens when somebody is attached to bhoga. And when some dukkha comes, then he becomes too disturbed, which we discussed. So one aspect we were discussing last time, that as a devotee, how we should see dukkha. So as a devotee, we discussed elaborately that we have to know how the aspect of karma comes in our life. So we were discussing that how we discussed three types of karma. Sanchit karma, prarabdha karma and kriyamana karma. So sanchit karma means which is a stock which we have. Unlimited stock from so many lives, we keep incurring so much karma and that is stored in our sanchit. And prarabdha is in this life, from that stock, some part of karma is given to enjoy or suffer. That is prarabdha. And then kriyamana is the karma which we incur in this present life by our present actions. And it is very complex. It may happen that the kriyamana karma may become prarabdha karma itself in this life, or it may happen that the kriyamana karma goes to sanchit karma, or it may happen that a part of kriyamana karma becomes prarabdha and a part of kriyamana karma goes to sanchit. And then we discussed that how in general mostly our life is governed by the prarabdha which is coming by past life. In general, the kriyamana karma which we are doing in current life has an impact on our prarabdha, but it is less. Mostly our life is governed by the prarabdha which comes from the previous life. And as per that, three things we were discussing from Yoga Sutra written by Vyasadeva, that as per that prarabdha, three things are fixed. So what are those three things? Jatur, Ayur, Bhogaha. So jati is fixed, That means the varna which you are born in, the family which you are born in, the color which you have. So that is fixed. Then ayur, the number of breaths are fixed. And then bhoga. Bhoga means sukha and dukkha also is fixed. The material misery and the material suffering. So the quantum quota is fixed. How it will manifest is very dynamic. The quantum quota is fixed, but how that happiness will unfold in one's life is dynamic. How that misery will unfold in one's life, that also is dynamic. So that we discussed elaborately last time, that we have to know. Understanding this, we should not become too disturbed by our dukkha, knowing well that it is our own quota. And this is one important meditation which Krishna expects on a part of a sadhaka or a devotee. And then we discuss this verse, Tatenu Kampa Su Samikshamano. So Samiksha means to see, and Su Samiksha means to deeply see. And Krishna is saying, Su Samiksha, when you do Su Samiksha to any situation which you are going through, you will understand Bhunjan Evatma. अरे ये मेरा ही कर्म है. So when you actually deeply see or analyze any situation, you will understand that I am suffering in the situation that is because of my own karma. Bhunjanevatu tadāni. And that's why devotee does not become disturbed. Devotee is grateful. And we discussed why devotee is grateful. We'll discuss it more in the last part of today's lecture. Why devotee is grateful. The devotee is grateful that Krishna is giving me karma, my karma back to me. And it is my own karma. The people who are involved, they are just instruments to give me suffering. But I am supposed to suffer. So that's why devotee does not become too disturbed. Sometimes what happens, even new devotees, when they take up to the process of devotional service, they develop very high expectation that no misery will come. So that will not happen. Misery will come. So because of that, what happens is they have certain kind of understanding that now I am doing devotion service. So why misery is coming like that? And then that's why they become very disturbed because they have such high expectations. So this we discussed regarding dukkha last time. And today we are supposed to now discuss about sukha. So like we should not become too disturbed when dukkha comes, knowing Su Samiksha Bhunjane Vatma, it is my own karma coming back. The people around are just instruments. Same way, we should not become too distracted by sukha. So Shastra says we have to know that actually what is this material sukha. So this is also again by Srila Vyasadeva in Yoga Sutra says, very beautiful verse. So he is saying, परिणाम ताप संस्कार दुख गुण वृत्ति विरोध च दुख में एव सर्व विवेकिनः. So परिणाम ताप संस्कार दुख गुण वृत्ति विरोध च दुख में एव सर्व विवेकिनः. So what he is saying is that somebody who is a vivekinah, देखो उसमें भगवान क्या बता रहे हैं, सुसमीक्षमानो भुंजानेवात्म. If you deeply analyze or go more deeper, then you will understand the immediate causes are not the main causes of your suffering, but the cause is your own prarabdha, your own karma coming. Here, what Srila Vyasadeva is saying, vivekinaha. If somebody is vivekinaha, then he will understand dukkha me eva sarva. That there is no sukha only. What you are thinking that it is sukha, it is not sukha, it is dukkha. He's saying if you have little intelligence, you will understand that it is dukkha, it is not sukha. So don't become too happy about it. Don't get distracted of thinking that, oh, I am getting so much sukha. Now, technically analyzes that how actually it is. dukkha, not sukha. So there are four parts of this verse. So first he's saying is parinamah, second he's saying is tapa, third he's saying is samskara, and fourth he's saying is gun vritti virodha. Parinam means he says every sense object has inbuilt parinam dukha. Any sense object of this material world has inbuilt a misery also, and that inbuilt misery is parinama dukha. We know that how every sense object has both sides, head and tail. So has some aspect of happiness, but also it will also give some aspect of misery. So that aspect of misery which is inbuilt in every sense object, that is known as a parinama dukkha. Like suppose you have laptop. So then what is the parinam of the moment you have laptop? You will find it will always occupy some part of your memory in the brain. चार्ज हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, लैपटॉप कहाँ रख दिया मैंने, अरे इसका चार्जर कहाँ चला गया, अरे चार्जर टेढ़ा कैसे हो गया है, अरे लैपटॉप i3 ले लिया मैंने, मेरे दोस्त का i5 है, ठीक है 1 साल और चला लेता हूँ, 2 साल पहले लिया था, उसके बाद मैं i5 लूंगा, और टच वाला भी आ गया, टच वाला भी लूंगा, और ये मैंने लेनोवो का लिया, अगली बार देखता हूँ डेल का लूंगा या एचपी का लूंगा. तो आप देखेंगे जस्ट बिकॉज यू हैव वन सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लैपटॉप, इट विल ऑलवेज गिव यू दीज काइंड्स ऑफ थॉट्स. इसको बोलते हैं परिणाम दुख. हमेशा एक फॉर्म ऑफ एंजाइटी रहेगा, हमेशा एक फॉर्म ऑफ रिमेम्बरेंस रहेगा उस सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट के बारे में. तो वो बोलते हैं परिणाम दुख. वो आपकी हार्ड डिस्क में है, वो प्रोसेसर का मेमोरी और हार्ड डिस्क का मेमोरी उसने खा लिया, और आप देखेंगे वो बीच बीच में उसका याद आता रहेगा आपको कहीं भी हो. आप सपोज यू हैव अ लैपटॉप इन कानपुर एंड यू गो टू दिल्ली, दिल्ली में भी बीच में याद आ जाएगा, लैपटॉप में लैपटॉप लॉकर में रखा है ना. और कहीं दिल्ली में किसी और का लैपटॉप देख लिया तो आपको याद आ जाएगा, अरे ये वाला तो अच्छा लैपटॉप है, मेरा लैपटॉप उतना अच्छा नहीं है यार, ये तो मेरे जैसा लैपटॉप है. ऐसा है. तो जैसे शुद्ध भक्त को हर जगह कुछ देखकर कृष्ण की याद आती है. तो ये है परिणाम. क्योंकि आप पे वो सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट है, तो उसके कारण क्या एक परिणाम दिखा जाता है. जैसे मुझे अ, 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 जैसे मानो आपके पास में बाइक है नहीं, और ना ही आपने बाइक के बारे में ज्यादा सोचा है, हैंकरिंग किया है, तो इतनी सारी बाइक चलती हैं, आपको ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. लेकिन मानो आपने भी पल्सर 150 सीसी ले लिया, आप देखना जब भी कहीं आप जा रहे हो और कोई पल्सर जाएगी ना, आपका ध्यान जाएगा उधर, एकदम जाएगा, अरे ये लाल वाली पल्सर है, मेरी तो काली वाली है. या काली वाली भी जाएगी तो एकदम आएगा, अरे कुछ नया डिजाइन आ गया है क्या इसमें, कुछ मॉडिफिकेशन कर दिया है क्या. तुरंत आपको आपका परिणाम आपके सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट का याद आ जाएगा. ऐसा. तो ये है परिणाम दुख. और उसमें भी मानो लैपटॉप आपने लिया, फिर पता चला स्लो हो रहा है, तो परिणाम दुख देगा, अरे स्लो क्यों हो रहा है. और उसमें जो है अ, आप सोचे कि सब कुछ ठीक चलेगा, लेकिन कुछ वायरस आ गया, तो ये परिणाम दुख. तो बेसिकली वो सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट में इनबिल्ट पोटेंशियल होता है अब कुछ दुख देने का, उसको बोलते हैं परिणाम दुख. ऐसा. उसके बाद आता है ताप दुख. तो ताप दुख क्या है, ये दो तरीके से आता है. एक तो है कि आपके पास में सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट है, लेकिन चलो वी कैन सी स्क्रीन. तो सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट इज देयर, and the capacity to enjoy that sense object gets over. So then dukkha comes, that dukkha is tapa. Like I was in once Juhu, and Surangi Mataji, the wife of His Grace Devkinandan Prabhu. So she just saw us. I was there, and one or two more devotees were there. Theo and two was there, and one more devotee. So she told, आप लोगों ने प्रसाद लिया क्या? तो हम ने बोले नहीं माता जी अभी तो नहीं लिया है, हम तो जा रहे हैं. तो then she told, नहीं नहीं नहीं, चलो चलो मेरे साथ चलो मेरे साथ चलो. Then she took us to Heaven on Earth, the restaurant which is there in Juhu temple. So what kind of restaurant it is? You have to pay some 500 or 600 rupees per plate. And then you go in a buffet system. So initially in the buffet system, you'll find lot of snacks item. You have salad, you have papad, you have samosa, you have a chaat, all snacks item. And you can put as many you want, whichever you want. Then you will find so many sabjis. Then you'll find paratha also, chapati also, puri also, butter naan also, whichever you want to cook, pick you can cook. Then you will find a lot of sweets also, minimum 6, 7 varieties of sweets also. So like that, they have around 23, 24 items. So we kept, because first time we went, so we kept almost all items on the plate. But when we started taking, after some time, we started facing tapduk. Tapduk means plate items are there, but now your capacity to enjoy is over. Sometimes you face this, right? In a big feast, when you have 3, 4 sweets kept, and then after one sweet, you feel, "Arey, how to eat now?" And then it becomes difficult. So that is tapduk. This is one aspect. Second is, second aspect of this tapduk is, after you enjoy sense objects, then it brings misery. That is tapduk. So, like suppose you happen to eat a lot, and then next day you get a stomach problem. So, getting a stomach problem after eating a lot, that is tapduk. So nowadays, especially, you will see how many stomach problems people have. So that all is tapduk. And why they have so much stomach problem? Because they are eating anything, anywhere without seeing. And there is so much adulteration in all the items which we eat. And that's why it is tapduk, like that. So after you enjoy that sense object, then the misery comes later. That is tapduk. Somebody is smoking, later on he gets a lungs problem, then that is tapduk, like this. So parinam dukh means it is constantly with you. The moment sense objective, so the way sense object is always with you, parinam dukh will always be with you. Like suppose somebody gets married, so then he will always have कि कोई मेरी पत्नी की तरफ देख तो नहीं रहा है, कोई देख तो नहीं रहा है, कोई देख तो नहीं रहा है, कोई. अभी कलियुगा में थोड़ा दूसरा भी दुख रहेगा उसको, मेरी पत्नी तो नहीं देख रही है. कलियुगा में उसको दो दो प्रकार का दुख रहेगा. तो ये परिणाम दुख है. जैसे कोई टीटी को संभाल के चलता है, उसको अपनी पत्नी को संभाल के चलना पड़ेगा. आपने देखा होगा कई बार जब आप ट्रेवल करते हो, अभी थोड़ा कम हो गया है बिकॉज independent nature has become more. But when you travel, you will find how people are very concerned about their sense of self. That is parinam. And tap means after, like that. After you enjoy, then you get it. That is tap dukh. And then samskar dukh is more special and more dangerous. So what is samskar dukh? Suppose you got a sense object and you did not suffer much parinam dukh also. And suppose you are not getting tap dukh also. So you are getting a samskara of happiness. You are getting samskara of enjoyment. So this is very dangerous because the moment you get so-called sukha, then it creates a samskara in your chitta. It creates a samskar in your chit like this. And the moment it creates samskar in your chit, you want to repeat that experience and you want to increase that experience. ये दो फीलिंग आ जाता है कि मुझे ऐसा और चाहिए और ऐसा और चाहिए. आई वॉन्ट इट एंड आई वॉन्ट इट मोर. तो उसके कारण दुख आता है. बिकॉज नाउ यू हैंकर. कब मिलेगा वापस, कब मिलेगा वापस. तो वो हैंकरिंग गिव्स दुख इन दिस केस. सेकेंड इज when you again go for it and when it is uh, at least not uh, at least it is not the if it is not the same experience which you got before, then also you get dukkha because in your samskara you have a registered experience and then you don't get the same experience of enjoyment now next time. तो एक्सपेक्टेशन मिसमैच के कारण क्या होगा, अब दुख होता है. अरे कल तक तो प्रेम से बात करती थी, आज क्या हो गया इसको. अरे कल तक तो मैं कितना कुछ खा लेता था, सब सज जाता था, अब क्या हो गया है, ये गुलाब जामुन खाते ही गुड़गुड़ हो रहा है. दैट इज समटाइम पीपल दे से ना, अरे हम जब थे समय था, क्या खाते थे हम, क्या कैसे particular enjoyment they talk about, right? So that is samskara dukha. So among all, the samskara dukha is dangerous. Why? Because it creates the hope that there is happiness in material things. So another reason why we are not able to give sukha, so-called sukha, or why we are not able to give this desire to enjoy, because we get some happiness. And Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport in Bhagavad Gita, the so-called happiness is the cause, is the eternal enemy of the sense enjoy. Because whenever next time the sense object comes, what is the tendency of the mind? It will make us forget the misery aspect and it will magnify the happiness aspect. And then you feel, I must do it now. And even if your intelligence says, Prabhu, next time you ate this Chinese item and you got stomach problem, माइंड विल से नहीं वो तो थोड़ा ही सा था, क्या आप बात कर रहे हो, वो थोड़ी ना बार बार आएगा. बट यू रिमेंबर द हैप्पीनेस पार्ट ब्रो, क्या था. So it magnifies the happiness and makes you forget the misery, and that's why we are forced to repeat that experience. So that is known as a samskara dukha. You see Purva Maharaj, how much he would suffer when Urvasi told him that once in a year for one day I will come. So he would get that some experience to be happy or to enjoy with her for that one night. And whole year he would wait. I want that experience again. I want that experience again. I want that experience again. So that is samskara dukha. Like that. Like currently our body is healthy, we may get some sense object. And tomorrow we may not get those sense object. We will suffer like anything. That is samskara dukha. Or today the same sense object. Like sometimes parents they cry, ना कब तक तो हमारा लड़का इतना हमारी बात मानता था जब से इसका विवाह हुआ है. They say why? Because samskara to. Yesterday the child was small, so the child was hearing them. Now the child has grown and he got married and the wife has come. The wife is like Kekai and she has spoken something to reduce the boy's love for parents. And you see parents how much they cry. I remember once my mother was crying. हमने इतना कुछ किया है इसको, हमको भूल कैसे सकता है. तो मैं अपनी मदर को बोला अभी उसका विवाह हो चुका है, वो उधर से इंद्र तृप्ति ज्यादा मिल रहा है, आप छोड़ दो. तो क्या वो एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत हो जाती है, संस्कार दुख है. एंड देन चौथा क्या है, गुण वृद्धि विरोधक. गुण वृद्धि विरोधक क्या है कि आप कितना भी अपेक्षा करो, आपकी सारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस जो हैं वो फुलफिल नहीं करेगा वो पर्टिकुलर सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट. जैसे लोग जब भी विवाह करते हैं तो कितना कुंडली मैच करते हैं, गुण मैच हो, ये मैच हो, वो मैच हो. और कलियुगा में तो बहुत स्पेशल है. अगर अभी हमारे शिवम गुरु जो हैं ब्रह्मचारी, वो शेयर कर रहे थे कि उनकी सिस्टर का मैरिज होना है. तो एक लड़का उन्होंने उनके पेरेंट्स ने ढूंढा. तो शिवम गुरु ने बोला कि चेक वेक करा लो, कुंडली वुंडली मैच वैच हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है. तो एक एस्ट्रोलॉजर के पास गए, उसने बोला बिल्कुल मत करो ये विवाह, ये विवाह करोगे पूरा तो फैमिली बर्बाद हो जाएगा। और दूसरे एस्ट्रोलजर के पास गए, बोले बेस्ट मैच है ये। ऐसा मैच हो ही नहीं सकता। तो उनके पिताजी फोन किए उनको, बेटा क्या करना है? बोले वो आप देख लो क्या करना है। कलिका में तो बहुत अजीब है। मैंने उनके पिताजी को पूछा कि कहीं आपने ज्यादा पैसा तो नहीं दिया था उसको? बोले हमने दोनों ही को पैसा नहीं दिया। तो गुण वृत्ति विरोधक क्या है? कितना भी प्रयास करो, जैसे कोई सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट भी आपको ले रहा है, मोबाइल भी लेना है, आप कितना भी सोचो कि इसमें सब कुछ अच्छा हो, लेकिन जब आप खरीदोगे तब आपको कुछ ना कुछ लगेगा कि इसमें सब ठीक है, लेकिन बैटरी बहुत जल्दी खराब हो जाता है। सब ठीक है लेकिन प्रोसेसर थोड़ा स्लो, सब ठीक है लेकिन हैवी है। कुछ ना कुछ उस सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट का गुण वृत्ति विरोध, कुछ उसके गुण जो है आपकी अपेक्षा के विरोध में रहेंगे। यह गुण वृत्ति विरोध है। ऐसा उसके कारण क्या, वो बार बार आपको खलेगा कि अरे ये थोड़ा सा ये ठीक होता ना तो कितना अच्छा होता, थोड़ा सा ऐसा होता ना तो कितना अच्छा होता। और वो थोड़ा सा हर सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट में एक्सपेक्टेशन रहता है। हर सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट में कोई एक सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट आपको नहीं होगा, आपका खुद का शरीर भी उसके बारे में भी रहेगा, बस थोड़ा सा मेरा पेट ठीक रहता ना क्या ठीक है, थोड़ा सा मेरा ये ठीक रहता तो बढ़िया रहता। बस यह गुण वृत्ति विरोध। तो वो क्या बता रहे हैं, अगर कोई गहराई से सोचता है तो वो जानेगा असली में क्या है। जितने भी सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं, जो भी सोल कॉल्ड हैप्पीनेस है, वो क्या है, दुख में एव सर्वः, सिर्फ दुख है और कुछ नहीं। लाइक दैट इज इट। तो वो फिर एक स्टोरी कोट करते हैं इसको समझाने के लिए, एग्जाम्पल कोट करते हैं। तो उसमें एक जैगिसन्य ऋषि रहते हैं, एक अवत्य ऋषि रहते हैं। सो द जैगिसन्य ऋषि इज अ वेरी स्पेशल ऋषि। ही हैड रिमेम्बरेंस ऑफ 10 महाकल्पा। वन महाकल्पा मीन्स वन डे ऑफ वन लाइफ ऑफ ब्रह्मा। One kalpa is one day of Brahma, one Mahakalpa is one life of Brahma, and he had a memory of his 10 Mahakalpas. That means he had memory of all the birth which he took in last 10 Brahmas. So this Avatya Rishi got opportunity to meet such a Rishi whose name was Jagisanya. And then Avatya Rishi asked him that you have such a rich experience and you remember also all of it. So as per you, what is the conclusion? What is the best lesson? What is your realization which you learned while being in this world from a life of 10 Brahmas? So his conclusion, he says, and he says, Sarvam Dukkham. Now you see, there was a time he became demigod. There was a time he would have become a president of some country. There was a time he would have become a powerful king. There was a time he would have had 20,000 wives. There was a time he would have had best of the opulences, best of the enjoyment, and he would have gone through all the species. He would have become animal, bird, tree, plant, demigods, humans. But in all the species, in all the planets, his experience is sarvam dukkha. And it is a fact. Prabhupada says, even in heaven, there is anxiety. There is a dukkha. Right? So he says sarvam dukkha. And same thing Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita also. Yehi samisparja bhoga tuk eneva evate. तो बहुत सुंदर इसका मेडिटेशन है। ये वर्ष जो है इतना सुंदर है, अगर इस वर्ष का हम मेडिटेशन करते हैं तो भोग इच्छा जो है कम कर सकते हैं। तो भगवान क्या बता रहे हैं कि जो आप सुख देख रहे हो वो दुख को बीज डालने के बराबर है। The so-called happiness which you are seeing is actually putting a seed of misery. If you go for this happiness, it is like putting a seed of misery. Today you are seeing only happiness. You are not able to see misery coming. But actually this happiness is what? Is a seed of misery. And tomorrow this happiness actually will bring misery. So in one way, this happiness which you are seeing is not happiness, is misery. So that's why he's saying ये ही समस्पर्जात भोगा दुख एनेव एवते। भोग कर रहे हो ना, ये भोग नहीं है, ये दुख के बीज डाल रहे हो, आज बहुत खुश हो रहे हो, प्रभु जी देखो जमीन कितना सॉफ्ट है, कितना अच्छा है, और जमीन में आप दौड़ रहे हो और समोसा खा रहे हो, समोसे की चाशनी गिरती जा रही है जमीन में फिर आगे चल के निकलेगा उसमें से किडनी फेल, लंग्स फेल। इस तरीके से भगवान बता रहे हैं कि वट एवर हैप्पीनेस और भोगा वी डू, वी हैव टू रिमेम्बर that we are showing the seed of misery. Another thing, Vyasdev, he says in Yoga Sutra, unfortunately, people when they enjoy, they forget that tomorrow misery will come. And when misery comes, then they cry. Like each one of us have experienced, whenever misery comes, whenever some disease comes, whenever some calamity comes, how much misery we feel, how much unhappiness we feel. But when we try to enjoy, how many of us think that tomorrow I will suffer? At time of enjoyment, no one thinks about suffering, but at time of suffering, they become overwhelmed with the suffering. They become shocked by the suffering, how this much suffering came, like that. So Shastra says, Prabhu, there is no happiness only, and you are going behind that happiness, and that happiness is actually misery. You have to understand it. So very beautiful meditation, what Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita. यही समस्पर जब होगा दुख इनेव एव थे. जब भी आप एंजॉय कर रहे हो इस श्लोक को याद कर सकते हैं कि कल को दुख आएगा इसका, आज तो एंजॉय कर रहा हूं हे भगवान, लाइक दैट. यही समस्पर जब होगा दुख इनेव एव थे. So why we are studying this deeply enough, that sukha and dukkha, dukkha disturbs, sukha distracts. And actually this sukha is not sukha also. This sukha actually is a preparation for dukkha. So that is why as devotees, first is we should not become too disturbed by dukkha. Why? Because that is our own karma. And we should not become too distracted by sukha because it is not sukha. You are trying to take adharma means to be happy by sense object. Those adharma means will take you to a lot of suffering. And that so-called sense object which you are aspiring for, the so-called happiness which you are aspiring for, that also will give you dukkha. That also will not give you happiness. So don't become so elated, so attracted. Oh, I will get this sense object. I need to get this sense object. I need to enjoy in this way. No, there is no happiness here. And to some degree, we have a realization also. Till now in our life, we have tried some sense objects. Till now, we have tried enjoying some sense objects. And if you deeply analyze, if you are honest, you yourself can see that they did not give you happiness. And they were always full of misery. So that's why he's saying is, Dukha me eva sarva vivekinaha. Somebody who is a vivekina, he will understand that how everywhere there is dukkha. Now, for we as devotees, it becomes very important to understand this aspect. Why? I was telling you one more thing that Srila Rupa Goswami says that for practicing bhakti, some vairagya is required. In Bhagavatam also 10th canto one verse comes that one should, in 11th canto, Uddhav Gita, one should not be too attached also and one should not be too detached also. That is important qualification to enter into Bhakti Yoga. So he says that one should have some vairagya to come to Bhakti. But the vairagya should not be more also because then heart will become hard. And if one is too attached to material enjoyment, he does not have some vairagya, then he can't be practicing Bhakti. So now question may come that, okay, how much vairagya we should have? As Rupa Goswami is saying that we should have vairagya. So question comes now, how much vairagya we should have to practice bhakti? So that Srila Rupa Goswami says we should have this much vairagya where we understand material sense gratification cannot give me happiness. This much vairagya is important. At least this much vairagya is important to have, that material sense gratification cannot make me happy. Then only he can come to the process of bhakti. So now in the Vedas, these processes are mentioned. Like all of you would have studied in your Bhakti Sastri also. One is Karma Kand, then is Upasana Kand, then is Niskam Kand, then is Jnana, then is Yoga. So this is the gradual path which is mentioned. Anyone knows online devotees what is Karma Kand? Can anyone say?
जो रिचुअल्स को फॉलो करते हैं अपनी बेनिफिट के लिए बिना बिना बिना
किसके लिए फॉलो करते हैं?
अपनी मेंटल चीजों के मेंटल चीजों के लिए.
ओके. कर्म कांड क्या है? पीपल दे डू कर्म कांडी यज्ञास for getting material desires fulfilled. That is karma kanda. So you might have heard like putra kamesti yajna. So why they do putra kamesti yajna? So that putra is born. That is karma kanda. Now upasana kand. What is upasana kand? In upasana kand, you worship demigods for getting your material desires fulfilled. Most of the time upasana kand is included, most of the time people they say karma kand only. So in karma kand only they include upasana kand also. But if you want to distinguish, then what is difference in karma kand and upasana kand? So karma kand you do yajna to get your material desires fulfilled. But in upasana kand you worship demigods for getting a material desires fulfilled. So in upasana kand you have some attraction for some demigod also. This is difference. So in karma kand, what is the main goal which they may get is dharma, artha, kama. They never aspire for moksha because they just want to enjoy. So dharma, artha, kama. Highest achievement they may have is they may go to swarga and then they may come back. In upasana kand also they want dharma, artha, kama. In their case, highest they can go to Swarga. Here also they want Dharma, Artha, Kama. But they may have some attraction for some demigod also. Like sometimes some people have attraction for Ganpati or Durga also. So in their case, they may want to go to specific planet of specific demigod. So they may have that desire. Now, what is Niskam Karma? So Niskam Karma means, so when we say Karma Yoga, so Karma Yoga, so Niskam Karma is actually Karma Yoga. You can call Niskam Karma or Karma Kand is not Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga is not Bhakti Yoga also. Technically. So Niskam Karma can be called as Karma Yoga also. And what is Niskam Karma? In Niskam Karma, a person, he wants to become detached from fruits of action. So here identification is varnashrama. And he wants to offer fruit of his actions to God. So what is identification? I am Brahmana, I am Grasta, like that. Varnashrama is identification, and he want to offer fruit of his action to God. That is Niskam Karma or Karma Yoga. This is so he can't give a Varnashrama, like he's attached to his action. So this is a platform on a duty platform. Niskam Karma. His identification is Varnashrama. If you tell a Brahmana that you do some other Varna activity, he will say, I am a Brahmana, how you can ask me to do a Kshatriya activity or a Vaishya activity? Why? Because his identification is Varnashrama. But then through his action, whatever result comes, he want to offer to God. That is Niskam Karma or Karma Yoga. Like in Bhagavad Gita, you'll find 9.27. 9.27. So here, this was, we all know, Yat Karosi, Yat Asnasi, Yat Josi, Dadasi, Yat. So this is same. What is? This is Karma Yoga or Niskam. Whenever we say Karma Yoga means Niskam Karma. So what Krishna is saying is whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever you perform, do that as an offering to me. तो इसमें आप देखेंगे सरेंडर टू मी में ओरिजिनल को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं Niskam karmis are attached to the specific work they perform. So what Krishna tells them is to do it as an offering to me. First they perform the activity, then they surrender the fruit to Krishna. Whereas in bhakti what happens is first we surrender to Guru and then we act. In their case first they act, then they surrender their fruit to Krishna. Whereas in bhakti first we surrender, then Guru says you do this, then we do it. So this is one difference. So Prabhupada says this verse refers to Karma Yoga. Okay? So this is Karma Yoga or this is Niskam Karma. But it is different from Bhakti Yoga because in Bhakti Yoga we first surrender and then we act. Here we act, then we surrender the proof like this. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. So this is Niskam Karma. Now this is considered as one of the limb of other three processes. So these three processes, they are known as the transcendental processes. So whenever Prabhupada says he takes to the transcendental path, so these three, they come under the transcendental category. Why? Before this Niskam Karma or Karma Yoga, I'm not talking. Before this, mainly Karma Kand and Upasana Kand. Here the people, they just want to enjoy. See, they don't go out of material world. They keep rotating in the material world. In Karma Kand and Upasana Kand. Whereas Niskam Karma or Karma Yoga is considered as one of the limb of transcendental path. That means Niskam Karma or Karma Yoga prepares you to eventually take to either Jnana, Yoga or Bhakti. In general, in traditional yoga ladder, Niskam Karma Yoga is considered as a limb of Jnana. But from Niskam Karma Yoga, one can take to any of these three processes, that is Jnana, Yoga and Bhakti. Now, in traditionally, if we see, so what happens is, person comes to the platform of Niskam Karma and then he becomes detached from the fruit of action by offering those fruits to God. And then he comes to the Jnana platform. So identification at Niskam Karma is Varnashrama. Then he comes to the Jnana platform. Their identification is that I am soul. Whereas in Bhakti, identification is I am servant. So he comes to jnana. So now why I'm discussing all this? For all these three paths, jnana, yoga, and even bhakti, minimum qualification required is at least to come to this level of niskam karma. Then he enters into jnana. When he gives up the desire to enjoy materially, then he enters to jnana. Otherwise, he cannot enter to jnana. The moment he enters to jnana, he has to give up his home, family, and he has to take karma sannyas. This is the qualification for jnana. He has to take karma sannyas. When he can take karma sannyas, because now he has become detached from fruits of action also and action also. Why? Because he does not have any material desire now. Then why he will act now? He does not need to act. He has given up that uh, 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 desire to enjoy materially. Same way for yoga also. He has to take karma sannyas. And that's how Goswami says, even for bhakti, you may not take karma sannyas, but in your heart, we should understand that material things cannot make me happy. Even for bhakti, he says, if you want to become a ऑनेस्ट साधक, प्रामाणिक साधक अगर किसी को बनना है, तो उसको कम से कम इस लेवल पर रहना चाहिए जहां वो जानता है कि भौतिक सुख जो है मुझे सुख नहीं दे सकता है, और वो भौतिक सुख का अभिलाषी नहीं है. Then only he can become a pramanic sadhaka. Then only he can become an honest sadhaka. When he does not desire to enjoy materially, then only he can become an honest sadhaka. Otherwise, he cannot become an honest sadhaka on any path. And naturally on the path of bhakti also, like that. So he says, at least this much is required, that we understand that, oh, these material things, they cannot give me happiness. And one should not have aspiration for material things. Then he can become an honest sadhaka on the path of bhakti. So in all these three, you see, jnana, yoga, bhakti, we are transcendental path. And in these three, a person is not looking for material enjoyment. This is a special situation. And that is why, what is the goal which Jnani gets? Jnani gets is Saivijya Mukti. Because he wants to have moksha. That is his goal. He is not aspiring for material enjoyment like that. What is sadhana for Jnani? Veda Vimarshanam. Veda Vimarshanam means they read the Upanishad, then they meditate, they think about it, they try to analyze. That is Veda Vimarshanam. Sometimes Prabhupada would translate like this: mental speculation. So they study Veda, they try to analyze, they try to think also, meditate also on the Vedic hymns, like that. So like that. Tadekatma. And then yoga is, in this, goal is Saujya Mukti. But here, because the here sadhana is meditation. Meditation on Paramatma. So here, in general, most of the time is Saujya Mukti. But by seeing Paramatma in the heart, if they feel some attraction for Paramatma, then they can also go to spiritual world in Santaras. But very rare, but they have a possibility of going to spiritual world in Santaras. So they can get Salokya and Sarupya. So anyone who goes to spiritual world, by default he gets minimum these two, Salokya and Sarupya. Minimum he gets these two, Salokya and Sarupya. So Salokya means उसी लोक पे जा रहे हैं, Salokya हो गया. Sarupya means all the inhabitants in Vaikuntha, they get the same form like Lord Vishnu. तो Salokya, Sarupya सबको मिलता है. तो वेरी रियरली योगी बाय सीइंग परमात्मा उनको लगा, अरे क्या ये तो सुंदर है, ही गेट सम अट्रैक्शन फॉर परमात्मा, तो फिर वो वहां जाएंगे. अदरवाइज जो है उनको साहित्य मुक्ति मिलेगा, ऐसा करते. So point of discussion is that how for these transcendental path, minimum qualification required is that one is not aspiring for material enjoyment and one is aspiring to get out of this material world. But obviously in bhakti, a path is so great that a devotee does not aspire for moksha also. Jnani and yogi aspire for moksha and devotee does not aspire for moksha also. Devotee aspires for just serving Krishna. Like that. So that means these three paths are so high path. There is no possibility where a person is taking to this path and is still maintaining desire to enjoy materially. तो रूप गोस्वामी जी क्या बता रहे हैं कि मिनिमम कम से कम आपका इतना होना चाहिए जिससे कि आप क्या कर सकें, अच्छी तरीके से एक ऑनेस्ट साधक बन सकें उस पर्टिकुलर पाथ पर। अदरवाइज आप ऑनेस्ट साधक नहीं बन पाएंगे। देखिए हम चैंटिंग कर रहे हैं, सेवा दो सेवा दो सेवा, चैंटिंग खत्म हो गया, पोहा दो, समोसा दो, पाव भाजी दो, भगवान बोलेंगे तुमको क्या समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। 2 घंटा बोला सेवा दो सेवा दो सेवा दो, सेवा खत्म होते बोलता है इसको भी मंचूरियन चाहिए, इसको भी पाव भाजी चाहिए, ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल है ऐसा। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है समझना। अब दूसरा, डिवोटी की लाइफ में ये कर्म का सिद्धांत कैसा है इसको भी समझते हैं। तो मतलब विश्वनाथ जी के ठाकुर क्या बोलते हैं, तो वो बोलते हैं डिवोटी के लिए सुख एंड दुख दोनों ही जो है ईश्वर दत्त है। तो वो क्या बोलते हैं, डिवोटी के लिए आप ऐसा मत बोलिए कि उनके कर्म से आ रहा है, डिवोटी के लिए वो क्या है, ईश्वर दत्त है। ईश्वर दत्त है, भगवान की कृपा से आ रहा है जो कुछ भी आ रहा है। अब इसका अर्थ क्या है, जो शुद्ध भक्त है, जब हम बोलते हैं शुद्ध भक्त मतलब जिनको सिद्धि प्राप्त है, सिद्धि किसको बोलते हैं, जो कम से कम भाव प्लेटफॉर्म पर आते हैं। भाव से पहले वाले जो प्लेटफॉर्म है वो साधना भक्ति के अंदर आते हैं, और फिर भाव भक्ति, फिर प्रेम भक्ति। ये जो कर्मा है जो पूरा डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाता है, इंक्लूडिंग अवर प्रारब्ध, इंक्लूडिंग अवर प्रारब्ध, वो कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म पे होगा, भाव पे। तो भाव प्लेटफॉर्म के बाद में भी वी मे सी डिवोटीज आर स्टिल अलाइव। प्रारब्ध खत्म हो गया मतलब क्या है, आपका ये शरीर ही चला जाना चाहिए, बट स्टिल वी सी सम प्योर डिवोटीज दे आर स्टिल अलाइव। सो भाव प्लेटफॉर्म के बाद में स्टिल कृष्णा में कीप देम अलाइव, एंड दैट existence is not because of prarabdha, is because of Krishna's mercy, because Krishna want to teach to the world, want to show their example to the world. So after bhava there is no prarabdha, whatever is happening in their life is only Krishna involved. Now before bhava, Rupa Goswami says जो कर्मा है वो क्या है, क्रम से जाते हैं। तो एक श्लोक है, आ, आ गया, अप्रारब्धम च बीजम च कूटम च फलम एव च कर्मणेव प्रलीयते विष्णु भक्तिर आत्मनः। बेसिकली ही सेइंग इन क्रम इट गोस, इन सीक्वेंस दे गो। फर्स्ट अप्रारब्धम goes, that means संचित कर्म goes, then बीजम goes, then कूटम goes, and finally phalam, phalam means prarabdha goes. Last one to go is prarabdha. So that means what, before bhava platform most of the devotees will have prarabdha, right. So before bhava platform devotees will have prarabdha. So what Krishna does is, Krishna uses our karma to glorify and help us to advance. So now Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, in case of a devotee, it is up to Krishna. Krishna may increase your karma or may decrease your karma, depending upon what Krishna feels will help you to go more closer to Krishna. तो ऐसा नहीं कि कई बार जो हम सुनते हैं कि भगवान जो है कर्मा कम करते हैं, वो भी है, लेकिन ये भी है कि भगवान बढ़ा बढ़ा भी सकते हैं। आपके में थोड़ा ही दुख है, लेकिन भगवान ज्यादा दुख भी दे सकते हैं, क्योंकि पूरा उनका पर्पस क्या है, आपको वो करना। तो इसलिए विश्वनाथ जो ठाकुर बताते हैं, when does he send misery? He says, especially when one is offensive. And second, he says is Danya Vardhana. Somebody is proud and Krishna wants to increase his humility. Then also he sends misery. हो सकता है आपके कर्म में मिजरी नहीं है, फिर भी भगवान जो है बना के भेज देंगे लोग, like that. Danya Vardhanam, or especially when one is offensive. So in case of a devotee is grateful. Why? Because it is Krishna who sent him. Because it is Krishna who sent him. Some devotee may feel, but it is my own karma only which is sending. Yes, but Krishna is choosing which karma and how much. And Krishna may reduce or increase also. Also, many times, sometimes we have heard some devotees saying that Krishna as a teacher will never give a test which we can't pass. So it is not true, because why a teacher will give only that test which you can pass, then how you will actually pass or how you will actually grow? So Krishna will give a test and we have to pass. And it may happen that we may fail. See, when Krishna gives test, his purpose is that we pass. But that does not mean that he gives test in such a way that we definitely pass. Why? Because he genuinely wants to help us to grow. Another, so now Krishna gives test, suppose we may fail. So as a compassionate Lord, he is still there to help us even if we fail. So this is one beauty of the Lord. We may fail because of situation we could not pass that test, but then Krishna is there, we don't have to worry. Krishna will help us. Now there are some situations where we may see example of a devotee where some calamity came because of which he is not able to practice devotional service. And then you may feel, प्रभु जी कृष्ण ने ऐसी सिचुएशन उनकी लाइफ में क्यों की? भगवान तो सिचुएशन लाते हैं जिससे कि हम भक्ति में आगे बढ़े, लेकिन उनकी लाइफ में तो ऐसी सिचुएशन आ गई जिससे कि वो भक्ति नहीं कर पा रहे। सपोज उनको कुछ कैंसर हो गया, वो चैंटिंग ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इतना बॉडी में पेन हो रहा है, तो we may get a doubt that are how come Krishna has given a situation where he is not able to practice also. So Acharyas, they say, in some situation Krishna wants to see how we respond. So Krishna wants to see how we respond in this situation. So if our response is that we are grateful and we are trying our best, then Krishna gives mercy. See, main thing is we want to have mercy of the Lord. Why? And why we do sadhana? To have mercy of the Lord. Now, suppose a situation came where something happened and I could not do sadhana also. But then I am grateful and I am trying my best. So Krishna is very happy, and then Krishna will give mercy like that. So like that, a devotee should know. So one of the best meditation is that Krishna is watching me and he is a person. Whenever we undergo some difficulty, Krishna knows that we are also going that difficulty. He is only sending now. तो वो देखते हैं कि अभी मैं क्या करूँगा. So when Krishna see that, oh, although I am sending him, but he is very grateful. And he is seeing that as my mercy and he is trying his best to remember me. Then Krishna is very happy. So we have to know this aspect of Krishna consciousness. Same way, Anarthas. Sometimes devotees will, Prabhuji, मैं 2 साल से chanting कर रहा हूँ, अनर्था क्यों नहीं कर रहा है? वो 2 करोड़ जन्मों से पता नहीं कितने पाप किया है, लेकिन 2 साल की चैंटिंग से अनर्था जाना चाहिए. तो इसमें भी कृष्ण क्या देखते हैं? कृष्ण may not purify. Then what Krishna wants to see is how we take shelter of him, although anarthas are troubling us. How we use Krishna given intelligence, association of devotees, process to surrender to Krishna. So when Krishna becomes very happy with our struggle to come out, then Krishna gives mercy. Struggle, then he gives mercy. So this is our hope. What is our hope? We have to struggle nicely so that Krishna gives mercy. And in that way, be happy. Because everything is opportunity to attract the mercy of Krishna. Like that. So that's why a devotee, he does not become affected too much by dukkha or troubles. And neither he becomes too much distracted by sukha. Then will not become offensive because of these situations. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here.